Caves are a unique geographical phenomenon in the universe, representing a complex system of enigmatic secrets manifested as gaps in the Earth's crust and mountains. Throughout history, caves have had a significant impact on the environment. Some aid in the movement of groundwater, while others serve as habitats for animals, insects, and rare species. In addition, humans historically used caves as dwellings before the advent of urban sprawl. Therefore, researchers view the discovery of caves as a fantastic opportunity to study and comprehend the history of ancient times. This is why they are always in search of new caves. They have discovered caves with stunning landscapes and unique formations, making them attractive tourist destinations for visitors worldwide. They have also found other caves with complex corridors, profound darkness, and harsh conditions, ranking them among the world's most dangerous caves. Welcome. I am Ahmed Mahmoud. Before we start, if you are new to the channel, don't forget to like and activate the bell to receive our videos as soon as they are released. One day in 1993, a cave d'Ivoire near the Ural Mountains in Russia discovered a peculiar opening on a plateau by the Iran and Congo rivers. Upon entering to explore, it turned out to be an entrance to a cave that he had never seen before in his life, and he was able to describe this cave to a depth of about a kilometer. Astonished by the place, he returned and reported it to Igor Lavrov, a researcher at the Congo station affiliated with the Academy of Sciences in Russia. Based on this information, Igor embarked on an exploratory trip with all the necessary equipment to explore the new cave. There, the researcher was taken aback when he realized that the area discovered by the diver was merely a small part of the cave's entrance, and the rest consisted of intensely dark rooms under the water. He thought to himself, "I can't do it," and they took the equipment and dived into the cave in water, whose temperature ranges between 3 below zero and 20 below zero. They kept navigating through the narrow rocky corridors, which they later likened to a mousetrap. But when they safely emerged from it, they found themselves in one of the most beautiful caves in the world. A spacious place, its walls are made of white cement dating back more than 200 million years, and the water in it is so pure that you can see everything clearly up to 45 meters away. Because of this exploratory mission, Igor was able to map the cave, including the dry part of it, and parts of the corridors under the water. Although the cave was known to the locals for a long time, after this trip, the Orda Cave began to gain significant fame among scientific circles and cave divers, who over time were able to discover that its depth reaches 5 kilometers, 4 kilometers of which are rooms and corridors under the water, making it the largest underwater maze in all of Russia. Despite its beauty, which earned it the nickname the White Bride, it is considered one of the most dangerous caves in the world, not only because of its narrowness, but also because of the white cement that forms the cave. Due to its interaction with water, any movement near it can cause water turbidity and completely distort vision. This is in addition to the fact that the melting of the rocks also causes the shape of the corridors to change continuously. This happened once before when a part weighing 5 tons fell from the ceiling onto the corridor that the divers walk from, blocking their way back. But luckily, after deep search, they were able to find another exit and returned safely. Because of its danger, legends about this cave appeared among the locals, including a legend that says that the cave is controlled by the spirit of a woman who kills anyone who intrudes on her house, which is the reason that makes everyone afraid to approach it. In the completely opposite part of the world, in Florida, USA, there exists a cave known as the Eagle's Nest. Unlike most renowned caves, it doesn't possess any aesthetic qualities that might draw people to it. It's essentially a pond filled with murky water and algae surrounded by swarming insects. However, what makes this place intriguing and attracts thrill seekers is that deep within this pond is a hole leading to an enormous cave, reaching depths of up to 90 meters. Even more astonishing is that this cave is home to very unique marine creatures. This has led many divers to risk descending into the cave. The challenge, however, is that the cave has extremely narrow passages that are completely devoid of light. Additionally, the water is excessively turbid to the point that some divers report that they can't see anything even with a flashlight. They are forced to navigate in a manner similar to Braille, meaning they memorize the route by touching the rocks with their hands and marking them to know how to return. Unfortunately, such risks have caused some divers to lose their way inside the cave and never return. Since the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission took over the management of this cave in 1981, they have been issuing warnings about it and have placed warning signs everywhere. One sign at the entrance of the cave reads, "This cave has nothing worth dying for, so do not pass beyond this point." Despite these warnings, dozens of victims have ventured and continue to venture into the cave. One of the most infamous incidents occurred in 2016, when professional divers Patrick Peacock and Chris Rittenmeyer went to explore the cave on the morning of October 15, 2016, and never returned. After an extensive search, their bodies were found at a depth of 80 meters below the water surface. It was strange that they were next to each other, yet they could not help each other to exit despite their extensive experience in cave diving. If you are one of those people who have a fear of heights, I would like you to describe what your feeling would be if you saw this view in front of you. One of the most fascinating caves in the world, formed as a result of water flows over more than 500 million years, is located in the western region of Georgia near Abkhazia. Although the locals have known about it for a long time, no one attempted to discover it, or we can say that there were no documented exploratory trips until the 60s. The first discovery was in 1960 by a group of Soviet cave scientists who could not reach its depth more than 90 meters and named it Krubera in honor of the famous Russian geographer Alexander Krubera. After that, the exploratory trips to the cave stopped, and in the 80s, a group of Ukrainian scientists used slightly more advanced equipment in exploration, which helped them descend to a depth of 274 meters. The shock came when they realized that the cave area was very large and full of rooms connected to each other by corridors. Unfortunately, they did not complete the exploration, and in 2001, an American mission revived interest in the cave again. Since then, with every trip they go, they discover that the cave turned out to be much deeper than they thought, and the maximum depth they could reach to this day is 2,199 meters, meaning the height of the Eiffel Tower 8 times but under the ground, to become the second deepest discovered cave in the whole world. It may also become the first after a while with more missions, especially since the limit today, in many places, has not been discovered because of its danger. Because in addition to the fact that the entrance to the cave is in a very difficult place to reach at an altitude of 2,256 meters, the cave itself is entered by ropes through a narrow opening, and sometimes there are strong winds that can make the person descending collide with the rocks that are on the edges of the entrance. Add to that the fact that the cave floods periodically, which means that to descend, you must be wearing a spare diving suit, and the temperature inside it reaches 3 below zero. And if all this is not enough, some corridors are very narrow, and the rooms themselves are mazes connected to each other, some of which are rooms that are completely submerged in water, meaning you can say that it is another world under the ground that can only be entered by professionals, and even professionals entering it is not safe. 7 million years ago, on the border between Kenya and Uganda, a colossal volcano named Elgon erupted. The eruption resulted in an enormous amount of volcanic lava that covered a significant portion of the surrounding forests. As time passed, these lavas cooled down and formed mountains. Over thousands of years, the elephants in the area discovered these mountains. For them, the discovery was a treasure trove. The mountains were rich in essential salts and minerals such as sodium, potassium, and magnesium. Consequently, the elephants began to carve into the rocks with their tusks and eat them, leading to the formation of a group of caves, including a massive cave 200 meters long and 700 to 900 meters deep, later named Kitum Cave. In 1980, a French engineer working nearby heard about this cave and decided to visit it. However, a week after visiting the cave, he began to feel fatigued, experienced a continuous headache, and severe fever. He thought he had a cold and took off and traveled to Nairobi. On the plane, his fatigue increased more, and he began to vomit blood, and by the time he reached the hospital, he had passed away. 7 years after the incident, the same symptoms appeared on a young man who also visited the cave and died 11 days later. Then a disease spread in the area surrounding the cave, and people felt that the cave was behind everything that was happening. After many researches and studies, it turned out that what caused the death of the engineer was a virus named Marburg. And as for the young man, it was due to the Rift Valley fever virus. And as for the disease that spread later among the people, it was the Ebola virus. This means that they are 3 different viruses. It turned out later that the reason for the spread of the 3 is the fruit bats living inside the cave, and the viruses can be transmitted by inhaling their scattered feces in the air. Because the rate of drought inside the cave is high and the sun does not reach it, the viruses live for a long time. This means that the cave walls, the insects in it, and the plants around it all carry the disease, and any creature that passes by there or enters the cave, the infection is easily transmitted to it. That's why Kitum Cave is considered one of the most dangerous caves in the whole world. But that's it. We're done. Who reached here? All those who reached are the best people. Make us like before you leave so that we know how many people reach the end. And don't forget, if you have a nomination for an episode, write to us in the comments. Most of the comments that we are making now, we have taken from your comments. See you. Have a good night. Bye.